Hey, everybody. Welcome to the next in our feature of state chairs. We're meeting the state chairs. And today we have joined with us the newly announced state chair for U.S. term limits in Arkansas, Chase McDowell. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for having me.
Yeah, so you've stepped in as a state chair for Arkansas for U.S. term limits. Of course, we're working on term limits on Congress. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, first of all, I appreciate being able to do this. I mean, I'm really excited to be the new state chair for Arkansas. This is something that's really close and near and dear to my heart. So I was really excited when I was asked, and it's overwhelming that I'm able to do this. But a little bit about me. So I'm from small town Arkansas, from the southwest corner, a little town called Stamps. So it's very small. City. Our claim to fame is Maya Angelou, but really excited that I grew up in small town America, in small town Arkansas. But one of the things that I got to do at a very young age is I started working in pharmacy. Worked at a small independent pharmacy in Magnolia, Arkansas, that then catapulted me to work for America's #1 pharmaceutical software company. And I got to travel our country, and man, is it a beautiful one. I was really excited. I got to see the North, the West, the true West, and it was pretty exciting to get to see those types of things and be involved in our country and being able to help small independent America fight against some of the bigger chains out there, and just get to see our country. I mean, it was just really exciting. But one thing that I kept noticing throughout was the same problems that we had in Arkansas, we had across the country, which is governments involved at every level. And, that was kind of some of the same messaging I started to see. My family has been in Arkansas since the early 1800s, actually before Arkansas was even a state. And actually, my family's been in this country before we were a nation. And one thing that I've noticed, throughout my family's history is an impediment that's always been has been government. My family before my grandfather were agriculture. We were farmers. That's what we did. My grandfather opened his own trucking business, and then my dad after him. And I'm currently working with a small to open my own small independent business as well. But one thing that we noticed was taxation and government involvement. So I finally had got enough, and I decided to run for office. A lot of people tell me, well, you're too young, you didn't need to do that type of thing. But, my generation is very influential in what happens in politics. But even at the founding of our nation, there was a lot of young individuals that fought for the revolution. So, the ageist argument there on politics falls pretty short. Madison Cawthorn was very successful. Fortunately, I wasn't. I lost by a small margin, but I'm still focused on Arkansas. And a lot of what I wanted to do in Arkansas actually happened this legislative cycle. A lot of the things that I was arguing, lower taxation, government involvement in our lives, a lot going on with the vaccines and all that kind of stuff that's going on with COVID. A lot of those things that I predicted happened. And a lot of people woke up to that. We have a lot of younger individuals running in Arkansas now for this next legislative cycle. And I'm really happy to see that. So, even though I'm young, and a lot of the state chairs that we have here have very high accolades, I'm in a wonderful crowd to be a part of. I still have been able to add to my state and even to this country, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's excellent. So tell us more about that. So you stepped into this role as state chair for Arkansas, and you'll be working on the issue of term limits. And it's an issue that you are very passionate about. We've been talking for a couple of years now, even, and you've been pretty passionate about that issue. So tell us about that, why it is that you so fervently support term limits on Congress, and what that means for your role here. What are you going to be up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, when I ran for office, you reached out to me and I signed the pledge, and I signed it with pride. I was really excited about that. So much so I even had my own father sign it. And, that's it was something that was near and dear to me, and something that's been very important to me and my family, actually. But, the thing about term limits is that regardless of what political party you align yourself with, if you're far left, far right, or in the middle, centrist, everybody seems to support term limits. The new poll came out. It was 87% of individuals in this country love and support the idea of term limits. I think it's the first cog in fixing the problem of government. We have so much money that's involved in our elections. I'm a perfect example. I spent $5,000 on my campaign. My opponent spent $50,000 on his campaign, and it was because he was an incumbent. So a lot of people make the argument that incumbents and elections are term limits, but the problem there is incumbents get to use the benefits of the state when they run for office, free postage, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of outliers and building blocks there that affects a new incoming candidate to run for office. Arkansas already has term limits. We have term limits on the executive, but we also have term limits on our state legislature. So to me, it's just a no-brainer that Arkansas would support this because we already see that it's successful in our own state. So why would it not be successful in Congress? It would be. I've had a little bit of pushback and people have questions of educating of the party. You would lose some of your figureheads. And I said, no, you wouldn't. Those figureheads would either become a part of the party and make sure that we elect those candidates that we want to see in office. But also what we would see is that the power balance would be actually more balanced for the people because the people are going to elect those individuals that they want. So it forces the parties to be honest. It forces the parties to work harder. And I think in the outcome, the American people win in that situation. Regardless if you're Democrat or Republican, it just forces the parties to actually do and adhere to what they say they're going to do.
So fun to talk to you about this because you know this stuff like inside and out, and it's you're particularly passionate about this issue, which is really fun. So as a state chair, you'll be getting out there and talking about this. So what specifically kind of things you'll be doing as state chair?
Well, so we're reaching out to a lot of candidates here in Arkansas, and one thing that we're focused on, hopefully we can get this accomplished very quickly, is having a huge press conference in the state where we have all of our candidates that support this, that want this to be passed, and they will be able to inevitably stand before the people of Arkansas and say, this is what we're going to do for you. And that's open to everybody that's running in Arkansas that wants to be a part of this. And it's also open to those that are already elected. I've extended this invitation out to our candidates across the board so that they can be a part of this, regardless if you're Democrat, if you're Republican, if you're independent. That doesn't bother me because together we're going to unite under this one message, and we're going to focus that Arkansas will no longer try to lead from behind, but lead from the front. Since there's only 4 states that's effectively done this so far, Arkansas, I want to be the 5th. I want us to be at the top of the list, not at the bottom of the list after everybody else is signed on. And I think that's the motion and message of Arkansas as a legislative body, is that we are trying to move forward. We want to be at the top of the list, not at the bottom. So this is a great opportunity for Arkansas and for all candidates across the board.
Yeah, as Chase mentioned here, the backbone of U.S. term limits and what we do to get term limits on Congress, it has to come through a constitutional amendment. And that means asking Congress to propose their own term limits, and that goes like you'd expect. It doesn't. And the other end is the real backbone, which is getting the state legislatures to pass resolutions in 34 states in order to call a convention to propose that single amendment for term limits on Congress, get the reform done. It had to be ratified by 38 states. And then we'll be good to go. So we need Arkansas, to join others. West Virginia most recently signed on to the U.S. term limits resolution. I actually just saw in the congressional record the memorial from West Virginia, putting them on notice that we're going to come and have this term limits convention. So it's a pretty exciting time to be involved. If there's folks down in Arkansas that want to get involved, want to support this, want to see that resolution passed in Little Rock, what should they do?
Oh, well, they can contact me at any time. I know that my information should be up on the website. If not, you can reach out to me at any time. My Facebook is public. It's under Chase McDowell. You can contact me at any point in time, and we'll be able to get that information out to you. If you have any apprehension or you don't quite understand what the convention is or any of that information, don't hesitate. I'm always an open book, and I like to educate people on this issue so that we can see it at all different angles. I love to have pushback. I like to understand so I can educate myself even more than what I already know about this topic and can see this through a different lens. So reach out to me at any time. I've always been open. I said that when I ran for office, and I mean that now as your chairman. I'll try to be the most approachable person in the state because, I have always had a claim to fame. I'm as proud to be an Arkansan as a Texan is to be a Texan. So if you want to rank our level there, and I like to help everybody because, in our state, we've got a special thing. Everybody in our state is like a family. We're one big family unit, and we want to keep it that way. And this is just another example of that. We're able to have strong conversations and work together. And I think this is what we're going to be able to accomplish in Arkansas.
Yeah, if you don't know who your state legislators are, if you don't remember their name from the last time when the election came through, look them up. Now's the time, and you can look them up and you can send them an email. You can make a phone call and just send them, hey, I want to see the U.S. term limits resolution for term limits on Congress passed. Let's get this moving. Put it on notice,
We've been able to see that the people of Arkansas have really stepped up this last legislative cycle. A lot of legislation that was getting pushed through the House and through the Senate, we voiced our opinion. They altered it, they changed it, they did exactly what the people asked them to do in most situations. And it's kind of that old proverbial saying there, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if we're all there, we're all there together, we're all on the same page, all Arkansans are saying, man, I want this, which is something we did back in '92. We passed this, and we continuously keep passing term limits on our elected officials here in Arkansas. I think that our elected body will realize this and say, yes, let's go ahead and let's join this.
Excellent. Well, Chase McDowell, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. And we're so excited to see what we'll accomplish down in Arkansas with having you at the force. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to do the best I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.